welcome back to my channel Emerging Teachers. My name is Dr. Anjali Karmakar, and today I would like to discuss on the general principles of teaching, which will be helpful for everyone in the teaching profession. Teaching is one of the instruments of education, causing one to learn through imparting knowledge and skills. So teaching is more than efficient delivery of thoroughly prepared lectures. For successful teaching, it is essential to know how and by which methods students learn. Swami Vivekananda in 1863-1902 described the role of teachers, saying, "The true teacher is one who can immediately come down to the level of the student." To accomplish the act of teaching skillfully and effectively, a teacher should follow certain well-defined and well-established general as well as psychological principles. In my video today, I will discuss a few of the general principles of teaching. Principle of motivation. Motivation, as we all know, occupies a central place in teaching learning process. The prime duty of a teacher is to motivate her students. Motivation means to create interest in learners, which make them active for acquiring knowledge. Motivation arouses interest, energizes and accelerates the behavior of the learner so that the process of teaching learning goes on smoothly. Motivation is a central factor in the effective management of the process of learning. Some types of motivation must be present in learning. The second principle is the principle of activity or learning by doing. In this principle, the more the activity of the learner, the more would be the teaching learning process. The teacher should make use of the student's instincts of construction and senses to the maximum. The maximum use of the pupil's basic instinct will make teaching effective to the maximum, as activity is in accordance with the student's nature. As he grows physically, his mental activities also grows. According to this principle, for successful teaching, the head and the hand must work together. The principle of learning by doing does not mean that the student himself should be active for learning by doing. It means that the teacher should keep the student active for learning new things. Efficiency increases and good feelings arise in the students by keeping themselves active. This principle should be used in the class and in all school activities to develop appreciable habits in the students. Thirdly, the principle of interest. In order to make teaching useful and creative, teachers try to create interest of the students in the subject matter. Once interest is created, he acquires knowledge in the subject matter and faces no difficulty while studying. The principle of linking with life is the fourth I wish to discuss. This principle creates a subject matter to link with the life of the students. The students show interest in learning only those things which are expected to be used in their future life. Out of their daily experiences, only those get stabilized which have some relationship with the previous experiences. So it is necessary to relate new experiences with previous experiences, as education is an attempt to prepare the student to lead an effective life. The fifth principle I would like to discuss is the principle of definite aim. Every lesson must have some definite aim or objective which must be clear and completely defined in order to make the lesson interesting and impressive. The objectives and teaching methods are closely related, and the teachers and the students must have full knowledge of it. This provides success to the teacher in his teaching task, and the interest of the learners is sustained. The sixth principle, the principle of recognizing individual differences. Here, individual differences of the students are to be taken into consideration while teaching. Psychological researchers have shown that the students are not alike in intelligence, in aptitudes, in temperaments, in interest, personalities, and needs. In order to develop all the students and for equal opportunities, the teacher should impart proper guidance and provide sympathy among the different students on the basis of the individual differences. The seventh principle I would like to cite is the principle of selection. There is a close link between the contents and objectives of education. If a teacher wishes to impart the entire knowledge to the students without considering any definite objective of education, he would be mistaken, as some things are essential and some are not. Confusion will occur, so a teacher is to select what and how much to teach according to a definite, clear, and predefined objective. This will benefit both the teacher and the students in acquiring knowledge. Next, I would like to discuss the principle of planning. Planning is a prerequisite for successful accomplishment of any act. Planning determines the success and the quality of any work. Efficient teaching depends on planning. In this principle, the teacher should ascertain a teaching sequence. The lesson plan, the teaching aids, the methods of teaching should be prepared after proper planning according to the need of the time and situation. This will enable him to solve every problem concerning teaching very conveniently and to decide how much cooperation can be sought in order to solve the problem concerning the teaching conveniently. Next, the principle of division. This means that the subject matter should be divided into some units for presenting in a certain order. The lesson becomes easy and knowledge is acquired easily only when the contents are presented after dividing it into units, so that one unit creates curiosity for the other, and so on. This division of lesson into an order of units or steps is necessary for successful teaching. Next principle, the principle of revision. Revision is very much essential in learning, as tendency to forget appears with the passing of time. The acquired knowledge should be revised by the students repeatedly. The frequency of revision depends on the nature of the lessons, and without revision, everything is soon forgotten. The principle of creation and recreation. This principle is very important, as through recreational activities, the creative power of the students develop and fatigue disappears. They will try for new innovations and have the opportunity for expressing creative activities, which is essential for successful teaching. The next principle is the principle of democratic dealing. It means that the teacher should adopt democratic attitudes with the students, where every individual is considered as holy and valuable. The student should get every opportunity to develop his self-thinking and independent expression. The democratic attitude means that the development of the lesson takes place with the help and cooperation of the student. This in turn develops the habit of independent thinking, self-confidence, self-esteem, self-respect of the students. Besides this, a number of principles have been given by different educators in different times. Principle of definite goal or objectives, principle of child-centeredness, principle of correlation, principle of cooperation, the principle of remedial teaching, the principle of conducive environment, the principle of effective strategy, and the principle of flexibility. So these are the different general principles which I have discussed today in this video of mine. And 1 to 12 I have explained, whereas from 13 to 20 you will find it in my blog, which is given in the description box below. If you have found this video helpful, then please like, comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.